Yo, what is up? It's your boy Blakeevk. We are back on Witch on the Holy Night. It has been a while since you guys actually see me in this beanie or bonnet. Uh, I can't remember the last time I even wear this in a video, so bear with me. I'm having a bad hair day. But I found out that this game was really good, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get right into it. I heard it's coming out with a movie. It's in the same universe as Face Day Night. It's a prequel before Skume, which I don't really know what that is, to be honest, as I haven't played it before. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I want to get right into it. You know, I be playing these visual novel games all the time on the channel. This is nothing new, so let's get right into it. It was a winter's day 8 years ago. That's cool. A solemn morning when she understood the value of life for the very first time. Okay. Oh. Her home was nestled on the side of a mountain. Around it was nothing but inhospitable wilderness. She had no neighbors or childhood, friends to speak of. Things like traveling to school or playing outside were more trouble than they out to be. Indeed, with its pure water and bright stars, it was a place rich with memories both frustrating and Haklon. What the hell? Haklon? What is that? What is that? Halcyon? I don't know what that is. Someone tell me down below. That was only during summer though. Okay, this is interesting. Winters in those mountains were extremely frigid, each morning more severe than the last. I seen the main character on the home screen. She kind of looks like Tosaka a little bit. Maybe they share the same, I don't know if they share the same personality, but probably do. Her father would drive her to the train station after waiting 10 minutes for the engine to warm up and the iced over windows to clear. Okay. Her father would savor his morning coffee, leaving her to venture outside and rev the engine. Out the front door she would go, traversing the garden with icy breath, until she reached that old sedan. As always, the inserted key then started the ignition. The engine rumbled to life. Just as she proudly finished that humble task, she's done so many times before. What was that, a cat? I guess that was a cat. A shrill scream pierced the air. She knew, even though it wasn't human, that the feeble sound was a cry of agony. Oh, it was a cat. A few moments passed. Her father came out and opened the hood of the car. Creaking fan belts. Oh, it's the little image of the cat. Oh, the cat died! No! Oh, nah, damn. Look, bro, I feel more bad for cats than humans, man. Yeah, fuck human beings, dude. A monstrous looking engine. It's something that didn't belong. There was a cat, a mother by the looks of it, and her two kittens. The three cats had been huddling for warmth in the engine's compartment. The mother cat was missing its head. One of the kittens had been mangled beyond recognition by the engine belts and surely died instantly. What the fuck? Is this a horror game? Like, what did I get myself into? The other kitten, its face half covered in blood, painted faintly, and desperately clung to its mother, or rather, the chunk of meat that had been its mother, with the last bit of life it could muster. That's actually sad. Her father laminated their plight. The previous night had been especially cold. After he had returned home yesterday, the cats must have snuck under the hood, drawn by the warmth of the engine. They had slept next to the engine and awoken to a storm of spinning belts. Cars in the 80s were not sealed particularly well, so this was not unheard of. Okay, so this is taking place in our childhood in the 80s, so I'm assuming, like, when we, like, go, maybe I'm assuming this is, like, the present day, like, the early 2000s or some shit. I mean, which makes sense. I mean, that does sound like that makes sense. Her father's voice seemed distant. She could only make out a small tuft of the kitten's gray fur. The rest of it was caked in the blood of its mother and brother. I can see its skull. The fragile life of a spectacled kitten. Trembling and possibly blind, it continued to nuzzle against its dead mother's chest. Jesus. This is sad. I feel really bad for the kitten, you know? She took the kitten into her arms and ran deep into the mountains, to her grandfather's house. Was it because she was overcome with regret? Or was it the shock of grief? Years later, she still wasn't sure. Fighting back the welling tears, she burst into her grandfather's workshop. Her grandfather was a magician who could do anything. She had never seen magic. She knew that magic was a fantasy straight out of fairy tales, but so was her grandfather. She had to find him. She was the only one who could help. Yo, are they pulling a Full Metal Alchemist? They're like, yo, make the sign on this fucking ground and sacrifice the whatever limb you have left for this cat. Oh no, don't do it. It's not worth it. Al lost his entire body. Oh, I'm a dork. I watch too much anime. The caged willing magician said indifferently. The kitten's needs our help, she pleaded. Whether it was a simple task or a Herculean labor, her grandfather would not say. So was her grandfather like a magician or some shit? Like a sorcerer? He simply granted the girl's childish wish, like a machine. Damn. Whoa. Dude, the visuals are stunning, bro. Oh no, the girl said. Before she knew it, however, she was holding a tiny corpse in her hands. Its fur was cold. The warmth of the life had left its body, and the tears she had fought so hard to hold back poured from her eyes. Regret spread through her chest like an endless gray sky. Her mind struggled to come to grips with what had just occurred. The last 10 minutes were a total blank. Who she met, what she had known, it was all as if it never happened. The only thing she was sure of was that life, once extinguished, can never return. Holy Jesus Christ, this fucking visual right now. That day. It was her mistake that gave birth to me. Indeed. Sorry, I'm being very performative right now. Whatever occurred that day, it was a day of nostalgia and longing. This is the fairy tale of 8 years ago. The day they first met, that no magic can ever bring back. Wait, who first met? The hell is happening? Oh, just to explain, by the way, the reason why I'm wearing this bonnet is because I'm getting a haircut soon and I have a bad hair day, so I think for the rest of these videos, I'm just gonna wear this bonnet. Arrogant, greedy, and able only to destroy, I must be a wolf. I don't have regrets. There's no looking back. If my pride has left you behind, my sincere condolences. But at any rate, I suppose it's my fate to die at the hands of Little Red Riding Hood. Okay, chapter 1. Awesome. Oh my god, dude. Is this a remaster of a game or something? Because this looks really good. Let's be honest with you. Like the visuals are like, oh, wow. It was a quiet morning. From her bed, she could see the sky was an ashen watercolor gray. The thermometer displayed 43 degrees Fahrenheit, a rather unforgiving temperature for November. Her stomach woke her up with a growl, pathetically reminding her that she had completely missed breakfast. But lazy mornings like today's were, for her, a blessing. I'd be missing breakfast like crazy. Like, it's really bad. Because I work in the morning, so I have to, like, stick to eating cereal. Because usually I'd be making myself some bacon, egg, and cheese and egg sandwiches, you know what I'm saying? But I can only do that on the weekends, unfortunately, because work gets in the way. Yep. It was already well past 8 in the morning. On any ordinary weekday, tardiness would be unavoidable, but today classes were canceled in commemoration of the school's anniversary. Gratefully, she had every intention of taking it easy for the first time in ages. Outside the window was a gloomy gray, and it reminded her more of a evening than morning. It wasn't a pleasant morning by any stretch of the imagination, but having been up all night until just 3 hours ago, she couldn't care less about weather outside. All she cared about was more sleep. As long as she could spend her morning in bed, what was happening outside was of no concern to her. I'm not gonna lie though, having rain outside makes you sleep a lot more. That's definitely happened to me. Yeah, it's definitely happened to me. She shut the curtains, then closed her eyes and tried to let sleep reclaim her.
せめてあと2時間ぐらいは凡庸な夢を見ていられますように。
No, blissful slumber found her soon enough. Her consciousness faded. However, her simple request would be mercilessly refused. A faint but shrill sound lingered in her eyes. In her ears. Damn. Like your boy's fucking up the narration here. It was the unmistakable ring of a telephone. Much to her chagrin, I don't even know what the hell that even means. Her eyes popped open out of the habit.
こんな日に限って。
All right. Sorry, I got transcended somewhere. The telephone was situated in a foyer on the first floor. Answering it meant walking down a 30-foot corridor and going down a flight of stairs. Damn, she must have lived in a big ass house then, because holy shit, 30 flights of stairs. In her sleep-deprived state, that distance seemed somewhere between incredibly far and astronomically far. The phone's insistent ringing continued. She knew the caller would eventually give up if she ignored it, but she chose to fight the urge.
アリス出ないの?
What the hell? This phone's old. Wait, they said this was the 80s. What the fuck is this? This is like from fucking 1929. I just made that up. I don't even know what the hell this is. She thought her housemate would get it, but she soon had to abandon all hope. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wonder how phones did work back then, because like you can call literally from someone like this, right? But like, wouldn't you need like technology? Like, what type of like servers did they use? You know what I'm saying? Like, what type of technology did they have back then? What, like, was there like any power, electricity to this? I don't know. It just kind of makes you think. I don't know what the realization. I mean, obviously there was some technology to it, but I'm just like saying, like, how did they like do it like this? The realization struck that her housemate did not have the day off from school and was likely in class at her prestigious little hilltop academy. Prestigious hilltop academy. The caller provided incredibly. the caller proved incredibly persistent. That persistence made the volume of the ringing seem even louder.
もうせっかくの安眠を。
She was left with no choice but to get up, throw a top on, and leave the room. She wasn't wearing a shirt. I'm gonna stop. There's gonna be someone in the comments being like, "She's 16." I'll be like, "Well, damn. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Okay, God, it's cold." She rubbed her hands together to warm her numb fingers. The mansion's heating system was inadequate, to say the least. Yo, this place is old as shit, bro. This place is ancient. You know how look at the air conditioning in that motherfucker, bro. I think that isn't that an air conditioner? I think if that's an air conditioner, this place is ancient, bro. Which meant that winter was the very worst of uninvited guests. Never more so than on a dreary morning as this when one didn't need to use a thermometer to know how cold it was. Bro, can you just answer the phone, please? The manager sat in the mountains and was surrounded by dense forest. Winter always arrived here first, before moving on to nearby towns. Lady, can you please answer the phone? The robotic ring of the telephone reverberated throughout the long hallway. The mansion's furnishing had been so perfectly maintained that it made the place feel unlived. It seems lonelier than it did splendid. Coupled with the dreary morning, it could have passed for a haunted house.
ま、幽霊屋敷そのものだけど、だいたい2人で住むには広すぎるのよ、この家は。
The two of us. So she lives with someone? She counted more than 30 rings since it first began. The caller either had a lot of free time on their hands or had a good understanding of the house's circumstances. She had a strong hunch that it was the latter. That maybe that was later. The window above looked out onto a gloomy sky. She hastened to catch the unrelenting ring and the act as soon as possible. Though she had a feeling that her happy morning might come to a close the moment she caught it. It was here that a series of incidents began. Apologies for the lack of romance to this tale, or whether it be objectively true or merely submission. It is always from gloomy and unassuring beginnings that extraordinary events are set into motion. So, are they giving us a warning that it's not a dating sim? I don't know, I felt like I kind of knew that once I kind of got into the game. I don't know, like when you see like the home screen and everything, it seemed more like a serious tone game. Oh shit, I'm not even... Wait, okay, so for some reason the opening went black. I don't know why. I don't really care since I think it's like copyright, I guess, for the sake of footage. I don't know. I'm assuming it was copyrighted because it blacked out my whole OBS for some reason, so I don't really care. Whatever. The rain had subsided somewhat by the time she reached the school gate. Sunlight seemed to be playing peekaboo behind the clouds in the distance. It looked like it might be cleared up early afternoon.
と言っても、私には関係のない話だけど。
Okay. The weather reflected her luck. On top of being forced out of the house at such an early hour, she had to suffer through a winter rain. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Wait, really? Why? I mean, isn't everything okay? I don't know. I mean, it's raining. I mean, it looks pretty gloomy. The sinking feeling she had only grew as she passed through the entrance and headed inside. Oh, going to school. School. What is that one dude's name that says that all the time? Carmen. She didn't encounter any other students along the way, nor did she see anyone taking part in the club activities either. What school did she go to? The recipient desk to the faculty room simply read, "Faculty closed." The school had given all of its students the day off, except those explicitly summoned like her. Why? A fact that irked her more and more as the minutes passed. No way. Is she in summer school? Is she a dumbass? Oh, no way. Ah, damn. She opened the door to the faculty room and headed toward the desk she had visited a number of times before. The man at the desk wore a plain shirt and suit that were nonetheless neatly pressed. Slim framed glasses adorned his face, giving off an amicable yet cunning air. The mild-mannered image, this mid-20s man, presented a clash with the cigarette he smoked. He didn't appear to have noticed her yet.
Yamashiro-sensei.
She closed the door with a bang. Showing no response to the sudden sound, Mr. Yashimura lifted his head.
Yeah, ohayo, Aozaki-kun. 要件は聞いているかな?
はい。1時間前に自宅で、事前に何の相談もなく。
Having graduated from this high school himself, Mr. Yashimura was not much older than the rest of the students. For that reason, the students preferred him over the other teachers. He always had something interesting to talk about, and kept conversations casual. In fact, he seemed more like an older student than a teacher, but she unfortunately didn't share her fellow students' fondness for him. She was of the opinion that teachers should come across as more asser, okay, like an iron fist that could inspire both love and hate in equal measure, not a buddy to joke and pal around with. He was the exact opposite of how she felt a teacher should be. It was only natural that her manner towards him would be forced and unfriendly. Not that she ever been wired to make friendly small talk.
はあ、今日もご機嫌斜めみたいだね、君は。
Yeah, it was pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. She got up pretty angry.
それは先生の気のせいです。今日だけ特別という話ではありませんから。
The matter-of-fact answer perfectly masked the displeasure displayed on her face. Her bad mood from having to get up early and the tiredness from staying up late must have collectively made her look positively, adversarial.
そうならいいんだけどね。彼にはそう辛く当たらないでくれよ。僕らじゃ正直どう扱っていいかわからないところもあるし。
Him? What do you mean him? Is there another person here?
先生、その件ですけど、私まだ詳しい話を聞かされていないのですが。
Damn, she's straightforward, okay. As Mr. Moro met her piercing eyes, he finally understood the reason behind her tone and slowly put out his cigarette.
電話じゃ
Oh, because he was smoking. Ah.
転入生の紹介をするとだけです。理由も脈絡もない説明でした。
One of Mr. Mashimoto's eyebrows stood up, impressed with the rapidity of her answer. You could see that she was angry, not because she hadn't been called to school on her day off, but because she hadn't been told why she was here. Mr. Yashimura chuckled sympathetically.
先生、これが笑い話ならそろそろ帰っていいでしょうか。
いや、ごめんごめん、謝るよ。冗談じゃなくて真面目な話なんだ。ちょっと君の手を借りたくてね。
No, she's really angry right now.
本当に転入生の問題で。
訳ありというか難しいというか。
Difficult circumstances.
彼、宗十郎くんと言うんだけど、
Sojiro?
ちょっといろいろとずれていたね。
Yo.
僕らが案内してあげるより、同世代の君の方が適任だと思ったんだ。
Yo, whose name was Sojiro the last time I played a visual novel game? I'm trying to think. I think it might have been that one game in You and Me and Her. I don't know. I don't know if it was him or not. I got no clue. Yo, Sojiro sounds like a manly ass name, bro. She threw him an unamused look. It was negligent of them to be pushing teaching duties on her, but she did wonder how exactly this transfer student was peculiar. Maybe he meant the student had behavioral problems or was difficult somehow, but peculiar, she didn't have the slightest idea of what that meant.
ずれてるなんて。
You don't hear
使わない
it.
表現だけど。
My bad. Sometimes I feel like I have to read it, I feel like I don't. She had her doubts, but swept them aside for now. This wasn't the time to get distracted by more concerns. I haven't seen her face yet. The fact remained that this conversation was all peculiar. She could handle, she needed more information. She was already beginning to fantasize about saying no and curling up in her warm bed at home.
一つ質問があります。
何？あ、学年は君と同じ2年生だよ。性格は落ち着きがあって人の話をよく聞くタイプ。裏を返せば覇気がないとも取れるけど、それならそれで付き合いやすいだろ。青崎くんとはクラスは違うけど、きっと仲良くな。
そういったことは本人から直接聞きますし、測ります。そうではなく、なぜ私なんでしょうか。
Though her tone was still stern, it was clear that she was willing to cooperate. She had decided to put her feelings of dissatisfaction aside and focus on the task at hand. Forcing herself to act empathetic in spite of her self-absorbed nature was something she was used to. Periodically, this force of will was also the reason teachers put up so much faith in her. to a point. At times, that strength shattered expectation, and on those occasions, they were left with no choice but to treat it like a natural disaster, whether until it passed. That was how Mr. Yashimura had come to deal with her as over the past year.
もう一度だけ聞きます、山城先生。それで、なぜ私なんでしょうか？
She does not seem very pleased about the idea of this. Pressured by a question without a clear yes or no, he answered,
それはね、別に青崎くんが先生方に敬遠されているのと同じぐらい信頼されていて、学校のためなら教師も生徒も一緒くたに切って捨てる鉄の生徒会長だからじゃないよ。
He's trying to piss her off.
それ以外にこんな呼びつけを受ける理由はないと思いますけど。
Her eyes did nothing to hide her disbelief as she glared at him. Strength far beyond that of an ordinary 17-year-old girl, coupled with the youthful beauty of one. Mr. Yashimura let slip a genuine smile, admiring the miraculous balance of qualities.
いや、責務だけでいいなら僕がやってるさ。この人選に関しちゃ、教師や生徒会長といった役職も関係ないよ。なんていうか、こんな頼みを損得抜きで聞いてくれるのは君だけだと思ってね。責任ですからと強く推薦したわけ。
In other words, she knew she couldn't say no.
山城先生。
うわ、怖っ。もう睨まない睨まない。言ったろ？僕にはともかく彼には笑顔でって。とまあ、納得してくれたならすぐに移動しよう。もう随分待たせてしまっているからね。
Alright, let's get right into it.
それと、雨の中ご苦労様。帰りはもちろん車で送るよ。
Alright, because you braved the rain to get here, I'd be happy to give you a ride home. Okay, never mind. Mr. Yashimura stood up gracefully. I'm good, thanks, she replied before turning and walking out of the faculty room. He had been waiting for about an hour. While he did, the rain shower lighted into a drizzle. His mind wandered as he listened to the sound of raindrops. The room was filled with neatly arranged rectangular tables. He was the only one there. Quite some time had passed since he had been brought to this room and asked to wait. Even the best behaved student might have grown dissatisfied or anxious with the situation by now, but the boy stuck to his spot like a scarecrow. He was chilled to the bone. It was the end of the November, and the low temperature in the morning had marked the start of winter. The room was not much warmer. The heater hadn't been turned on. Oh god. I remember that one episode where, like, I think they were talking about the heater. Wasn't it Face Day Night? No, they were talking about the machine or something wasn't working. Or something like that. I don't know what it was. I don't know what machine it was. But it was Shiro and that student council dude. It was a funny. They're funny people. Funny duo. The heater hadn't been turned on. Either he'd missed the teacher telling him to turn it on, or he'd never seen one in his life. He braved lightly on his freezing fingers as he aimlessly surveyed his surroundings. This dreary place was apparently a meeting room. The other students might have considered it a wonderful place to meet. To him, it was a drab and overly spacious. It was a lifeless place that reminded him of an Arad cave. Stuck in this cold room with absolutely nothing to do, his mind turned to what they wanted to discuss. Unable to come up with a solid answer, he returned his attention to the sound of the rain. The rain hardly resembled the rain in the mountains, though he could still recognize it barely. Its smell and sound were harsher, but at the end of the day, rain was still rain. So even in this world, alien as it was, could have something in common with the mountains. That trivial, what? Wait, that trivial detail perked him up a little. Oh, it took away the UI. I was like, wait, what the hell? See, I'm playing a real visual novel, guys. See, I was playing all the ones with the fucking UIs in the bottom with the text box. Now I'm playing a real visual novel. Yeah, the text on the screen. He liked how the town looked soaked in rain. Naturally, he preferred sunny weather, but he liked rain in its own way. The fog from the rain had soaked up the scent of the soil and reminded him of home. It was at times like these that he was able to numb the anxiety of city gave him. But then he let out a discouraged sigh. How pathetic. He had already been there 2 weeks, and thoughts of his hometown still made him sad. Perhaps feeling that he was being unfair to his new life, he composed himself and continued to wait patiently. As if having a passion for distractions, his attention returned to the sound of the rain once more. Man, he's like, when is this bitch gonna get here, man? Waiting like this didn't seem to be particularly hard for him. He quietly endured the numbing cold and the hour alone with calm and deep breaths. As the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. Oh god, that's a strong point of his or not. He was astonishingly patient. It was certainly helping him out in this moment. God damn, man. She, on the other hand, was livid. The profile of the transfer student had been explained to her on her way to the meeting room. She was told he had lived his whole life up in the mountains without any electricity. Oh god. Oh no. That meant more than half of a civilized society would have been an utter mystery to him.
なんて絶望的な断絶。戦後どころか戦前の話じゃない。ロビンソンにも程がある。
I have no idea who that person is. She had every right to be angry. Why? His village had apparently remained isolated in the mountains for many years. Contact with the villages in the foothills of the mountains only occurred once a month or so, which was unfathomable in modern Japan. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't. Okay, is it just me or does like the? Okay, I'm confused on where this takes place because I'm like thinking it's like, is it really the 1980s or like is this like the early 2000s? Because like look at how the buildings are, they look normal. Although expressways in Japan railed the old national railways now span the country like Arteris, and Arteris. It wasn't entirely impossible for mountain villages to, like his, exist. But she couldn't imagine how someone born to such circumstances would think or live.
電気がないって、村に行き渡っていないだけで公衆電話ぐらいはあったんですよね。
なかったそうだよ。こっちに暮らすようになってまず驚いたのが電話だそうだし、電話って便利ですねなんて真顔で言われてね、そういえばそうだなぁと再確認させられたぐらいだよ。
She got a sidelong glare his way as he laughed. It seemed that the naivety of the country boy had cheered up Mr. Yashimuro.
駐在もいないってことか。うちも実家は山奥ですから、電気が通っていないのはありえないとは言いませんけど。
Okay.
そいつ、学校も知らないんですか？
No, I guess not. I mean, they did say he was in the country.
どんなものかは知っていたそうだけど、実際来るのは今日が初めてらしい。それで緊張していたのかな。あまり会話も弾まなかった。
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't blame him. He feels alienated. He doesn't even know what the hell is going on.
ああいうのも野生児っていうのかな。狼に育てられた狼少年みたいな。あ、いや、探検隊の話だね。
She is so pissed.
怖いな、青崎くん。冗談だって。
She is so mad. Well, I'm guessing she's mad because she has to teach the boy from like square one. So yeah, I guess that kind of does make sense. I mean, that would be annoying. So it like takes a lot of time to teach someone everything of what's been going on in like society, especially advancing technology and all that stuff. So maybe that's why in her position she's like, you got me in a guidance counselor with this kid. What the fuck?
大丈夫。話してみた感じ、おとなしい子だったから。なんていうか、言葉の通じない小動物みたいな感じ？
山城先生、その例え、気休めになってませんから。
Yeah, I feel like you're making it worse. You're like channeling her more of her angers that she could just put out on the kid. Man, I feel bad for Zorger, bro. He might get his ass beat for no reason. And she gave her a blunt reply. She tried to simulate in her mind what life without electricity would be like, but the thought of it took her sour mood from the bad to worse. Yeah, that is the modern age woman. They lose technology and it's like, oh, no. I'm kidding. I'm playing. Oh my god. Get canceled one of these days. After all, it was a world she had never known. I don't know. I grew up with my older sister always complaining about never having technology. Like, I remember when she got her phone taken away, she was miserable. No TV, miserable. No technology, miserable. Fun times to watch, by the way. She could understand why the teachers had given up. She too wanted to give up and return to her warm bed. But her good-for-nothing pride was holding her hostage. Not only did the teachers believe she was up to the task, but she also believed she could do it. It wasn't that easy to go back on her word, no matter how bad things looked after that fact. She walked along the hallway, the rain pattering in the background. The meeting room was already in sight. With a furrowed brow, she fixed her long hair in anticipation of meeting the unknown stranger within. Her elegant strides were like those of a confident general going into battle.
いや、青崎くん、
Damn, how long have they been walking to this fucking classroom?
君を信頼してる僕だけど、念のため確認しておくよ。なんていうか、優しくね。
作り笑いは苦手です。一応努力しているつもりですが。
Oh my god, dude. Teacher, you're setting this man up for failure, bro. Stop talking to this girl like this. She's just not happy, man. Just let her be angry. Just let her be mad.
いやー、ほんとよかった。青崎くんにも苦手なものってあったんだね。
Did that make anything better? Mr. Amasiros? Am I saying that? Amasiro? Mr. Amasiro's shoulders slumped the second they reached the meeting room. As he put his hand to the door, his eyes seemed to say to her, "Be nice, please." This only made her more irritated. Shut your bitch ass up.
分かってるわよ。愛想が悪いってのは。でも笑顔なんて意識して作るものじゃないんだし。
Oh god.
大体そういうインスタントな人付き合いなら飛び丸の方が向いてるって。
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't do that. She sighed about her social shortcomings, but then it occurred to her that being called into school on a day off while sleep deprived wasn't anything to smile about anyway. She also thought the person responsible for this mess would be better off attending elementary school. Damn, it might not be his fault, but neither was it her duty or obligation to do the teacher's work for them. True? At the very least, they could have used their brains and organized all this on a normal school day. Another complaint she wanted to voice later.
いや、というか敵。なんであろうと敵。悪いけど、情状酌量以前に敵。
Damn.
間が悪いのはお互い様っていうか、ほんと、なんでよりにもよってこんな忙しい時に。
Wait, he's a sworn enemy? Did I miss something here? Like, what do you mean? What context did I miss? Her pounding headache from a lack of sleep had boosted her aggression by 10%. Oh, okay, well, never mind. That's why. No matter how harmless the guy on the other side of the door may be, anyone who disturbed her sleep was the enemy. Oh, okay. Now, damn. Okay, he's gonna get his ass kicked. Ah, man. This poor kid. I feel bad for Sojiro, bro. Bro, he better be as manly as that name of his, bro. And just as she was reaching peak annoyance, Miss Yamasiro opened the door to the meeting room. The room slowly slid into the view. She didn't care for formalities, just looked straight ahead and stormed into the room, and found herself face to face with the most unusual opponent. Before we go on, let's see from another perspective. Turning back to the cloud just a little. You don't have to do anything. For some, these words are priceless luxury. For others, they are unbearable torture. For the proactive girl, it was definitely the former, though she'd be too suspicious of the motives of anyone giving her such a gift to accept it. For the passive boy, it was definitely the latter, a bit thorn that made him homesick. Though at this very moment, his mind was still distracted with the wait for his face to reveal any discontent. He maintained perfect posture as he stared at the gray sky. He had already waited a whole hour, but figured they must have had their reasons for making him wait. And as long as he had the sound of the rain to soothe him, he could keep on waiting.
でもそろそろ9時を過ぎるのか。どうなんだろ
He had been vaguely keeping track of the time as he listened to the rain. Due to the holiday, the school building was completely silent, except for the patter of the rain on the window. The mood felt as damp as the air. It was then he heard the heavy clatter of the footsteps
う。よ
approaching.
かった。
Finally,
忘れられているかと思った。
my bad. Okay, so parentheses, note to self, they're talking. Or at least thinking in their head. You could hear two sets of footsteps, one heavier set belonging to an adult. He breathed a sigh of relief as the door slid open.
すまないね。随分とお待たせしちゃって。
Okay. The first person he saw was a man wearing glasses and an awkward smile. That's Mr. Yamasiro, the one who brought me here.
あれ里中先生いないんですか？ひどいなあ。話し相手になってあげてと言ったのに。
He probably got bored. Mr. Yamasiro scratched his head, looking increasingly apologetic. And then, from behind him, with a tight-lipped expression that made it clear she didn't want to be there, a dark-haired girl with a determined look in her eyes appeared. Oh, they're really. Oh, they're not gatekeeping anymore. Shoujo gulped. The sound of the rain on the window faded into nothingness. Oh, snap. That's when he knew. This was how it felt when time stood still. Oh, shit. Oh, we see her now. Her face got revealed, and she is not happy at all. Holy shit. She blinked quickly a few times as if taken back. Why was anyone to guess? The boy was everything she expected a naive country boy to look like. However, she felt something she couldn't understand. Damn, dude. She's just talking a lot of shit about him. Holy crap. His eyes widened slightly as if taken back. The reason was obvious. Putting his feelings into words was a different matter altogether, so he will never know exactly what he experienced in that moment. That's when it hit him. He sensed he'd been touched by the hands of destiny.
紹介するよ。彼が転入生の静木宗十郎くん。で、こっちの彼女が静木くんの案内役。うちの生徒会長で休日を押して新しい仲間の案内役を買って出てくれた青崎青子くんだ。
Okay. His voice and the sound of the rain seemed distant. This is how they first met. Such was their start, for better or worse, like the ephemeral beauty of fireworks. Why did this seem like a first encounter of a romance? Like, did it seem all shiny and shit? Like, what the fuck was that? It was commonly believed among the students that Alka was always in a foul mood. But this gossip was 90% prejudice, as Alka simply didn't have time to be irritated 24/7. Okay? The reality was, she simply didn't want to explain herself of all time, and therefore seemed angry about something, obvious or not. This idle gossip did, however, lead to her earning the title of one of the school's 7 deadly threats. The remaining 10% of the gossip was right on the mark. Alka herself often had the feeling that her tendency to feel animosity toward her harmless things was akin to what a chronic headache sufferer might experience. Oh god. A sufferer might experience? Today fell under that 10%. For today, her anger was pure, and her childish and selfish display was befitting of her actual age. The meeting room was dimly lit, awash in the colors of the rain. The reduced electricity costs, school regulations forbid the use of lights during the day. This was the setting the three of them found themselves in. Her first impression was that his calm demeanor reminded her of a field of wildflowers. In spite of his perfect posture, his overall air felt placid, tame, even though describing him as meek would be going too far. At the very least, he was passive. Even through his uniform, she could see that he was thinner than average. His dark hair was unkept, and he came across as a woolly forgetful boy. If she had looked at him in more of a positive light, she would describe him more of a young man than a boy. It was his calm demeanor that made him seem more mature. Was that the cause of Alko's reasonless reaction? Oh, okay. He seemed almost too at home in the meeting room, and she was left with the impression that it was her and the teacher, not this outsider, who were the guest here. Alright. She felt an undefinable aggravation building within her, almost as if her right to be here was in question. Algo felt herself raising her natural defenses.
信じられない。私、今わけもなく怒ってない。
She's kind of funny. She hated not understanding things, her own emotions in particular. Oh, was she like immersed by his looks? And now she's like, oh, wait a minute. He's actually really mature for his age. Hold on. He's actually decent looking. Is he? No. Mature? Oh my god. It pained her less than you would imagine for a perfectionist like her, but it still nagged her like a thorn in her side.
いやーほら青崎くん挨拶してあげなくちゃ
Yeah, listen, that's not be all shy, you know? Miss Yamazuro, attempt to relieve the tension, was equally irritating. Oh my god, she's fucking sweating.
挨拶。
After casting a nasty glance in the teacher's direction, Alko turned to face the boy. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to see this in the movies. Like, how's this gonna look? From an outsider's perspective, it might have looked like a stare down. And in that instant, the accumulation of her emotional state hurtled toward the innocent boy and skewered him. Uh-oh. What's happening?
いや待たせたねしずきくん
Hearing his name, Soijiro came to his senses. Are we doing the two-perspective thing again? His stunned gaze shook loose. He took a deep breath to clear his head. Chalking it up to nerves, Mr. Yamashiro broke out a smile and turned to the girl standing beside him.
紹介するよ 彼が転入生の静木宗十郎くんで、こっちの彼女が静木くんの案内役。うちの生徒会長で休日を押して新しい仲間の案内役を買って出てくれた青崎青子くんだ。
Damn, she does not look happy at all. Having been introduced by Miss Yamashiro, the girl took a step forward. Oh, okay. Her eyes were merciless. Merciless, okay. Merciless? Her eyes were merciless. Her stare an unspoken threat to violently trample her opponent. Why did she want to violently trample me? Like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, don't verbally abuse me, man. I'm sorry that I interrupted your sleep. Sergio, on the other hand, managed to keep his own composure, despite the shock at how confrontational she appeared. She had never been greeted quite like this before. Was supposed mistakenly that this was how people treated each other in the city. Oh Jesus. The exchange must have looked quite dramatic to an onlooker. A girl ready to brawl. An earnest country boy desperate to understand. It was a murderous limbo, especially for anyone in the room with them. Like Mr. Yamashiro, for example, while he had thought he had made the right decision in the choosing of an honor student to help him out, she was in an inexplicably bad mood, and the tension in the air was undeniable. It was this moment that he realized his failure. His realization had come far too late. One false move, and this girl, for whom no problem was too large, would becoming a storm that would rock the very foundations of the school. Just as the almighty Joker card could bring either fortune or disaster, the sole teacher who had been present at the time would come to bear the blame for the scandal that ensued.
いけてる。二人とも気は合うようだね。
They haven't said anything to each other.
それじゃあ僕はこの辺でいいかな。
They've just been fucking narrating this shit. They're not saying anything. Mr. Yamashiro laughed nervously as he crept toward the door. This dude's an asshole. Like, he literally put her here just to, like... just for Sergio to get verbally abused.
僕は職員室にいるから終わったら来るように。
I mean, the verbal abuse hasn't happened yet, but we'll see it.
いいかい青崎くん。くれぐれもだぜ。
Oh god.
なんていうか生徒会長としての度量の広さをこの際僕に信じさせてほしいかな。
She's a student council president? Really? They gave her a role as student council president? But she's so fucking mean. Mr. Yamashiro left, leaving the two in a locked eye state, one in which one set of eyes was doing all the glaring. All that remained in the room was an artless boy and a cross-armed guarded girl. The two lingered in silence. They resembled soji players, agonizing over their first moves, though it was only Aoko who was reading so much into the situation. She decided to put her irritation aside for the time being. With no reason to feel revulsion for him in the first place, she sighed deeply and faced Sojiro.
まあいいわ。山城先生がヒルアンドンなのは今に始まったことじゃないし。
Oh, these visuals are pretty cool.
それで、あなた名前は？
Her tone was nothing if not reproachable, though he had done nothing to offend her. But the boy failed to pick up on it. Incapable of such venom himself.
ああ、静木宗十郎かな。君は青崎さんだったね。
I like his voice acting. He's got a good voice actor there. For whatever reason, he came across as happy in her response. He kind of sounds like Tanjiro a little bit from like Demon Slayer. A little bit, kind of. I don't know. Tanjiro is more like, sounds more like a kiddish like.
さんはいいわ。柄じゃないから。
Oh, okay.
こっちは静木くんでいい？
いいって何が？
だから呼び方。くんづけでいいかって聞いてるの。何よ？おかしなこと言った？私。
いや、すごく。
The boy replied immediately as if it was a natural response, but quickly second-guessed himself.
いや、いいんだ。ごく一般的なんだろう。しずきくんで頼む。君は青崎でいいんだよな。
え、よろしく。
She followed her blunt reply with a swift turn away from him. While she was hardly thrilled at the prospect of the task at hand, it had been entrusted to her, and it was her personal policy to see it through to the end.
悪いけど、優しくしてあげる気はないから。時間も惜しいし、手早く行くわよ。
Alright, okay, cool.
それは助かる。やっぱり時間は大切だ。
Ako's blunt rancher was lost on him once again. He's too nice. God damn it, he's beating me with kindness. Yeah. Oh, this is cool. Humans tend to be overly conscious about being ignored, whatever from that takes. But despite being peeved at landing none of her attacks, Ako did her best to act professional and directed her guests into the hallway. She's been professional, really? I mean, alright. I guess you could call it that. Let's say somewhat PR trained right now. There was no sunlight in the hallway or any sign of life. This was more like a prison than the cave that was the meeting room. As it dawned on Ako that the hallway matched her mood, she sighed once again.
まず聞いておくけど、山城先生から聞いたことは理解してる？
ああ、学校の仕組みについては分かった。この建物全部に同い年の人間がいるなんて、ちょっと想像できないけど。
そう、よかったわね。
Ako rubbed her forehead. This Soijo kid had no idea what he was in for. Apparently, all he had heard about the school was that it was a place where a lot of people met to study. What? High school teachers imparted to students their knowledge in various fields of study while fostering discipline and creativity. But never did Aoko imagine that she would have to explain the concept of school itself to someone. Yes, fundamentals were important, but this was absurd. She had serious doubts whether he could even handle classes, but Mr. Yamashiro insisted that things would work out somehow. Soicho had managed to pass the transfer exam, after all, barely.
ま、私には関係ないけど。
Aoko grumbled mentally as she walked down the hallway. This girl, man, put some more faith in my boy, man. She consoled herself with the fact that today would be the only day she'd spend with this boy out of time. Or at least, she tried to keep it that way.
青崎、
He asked calmly, trying to get her attention.
何？
こっちも一つ聞いていいかな。
だから何？
俺の気のせいだと思うんだが、君はまるで何かを睨んでいるように見える。
Oh no.
やはり今朝は悪いものでも。
Dude, don't do it. His gaze revealed earnest concern, as if asking if she remembered to eat breakfast. Oh shit, no, fuck. No. That was genuinely funny. Wait, her face jumped to the choice in the previous. No, wait. Hold to rewind. Let's. Yo, her face. It was like another hammer to her head. Oh shit. It was true that Alco had been glaring at Sojo the entire time. Glaring red hot daggers, in fact. Yo, she is PO'd right now, man. Not just at him, but the universe. Even on her best days, her roommate used to remark.
青子の視線は普通の人には厳しいわ。
Yeah, that makes sense.
もう少し多くのことに寛大になるべきね。
That is true. You should be more tolerant. She'd been warned that her emotions were so naked on her face that people treated her like a powdered keg. What? How naive could the boy be that he could not pick up on this?
私をバカにしてるってわけじゃなさそうよね、この場合。
No, he's just showing genuine concern. Oh god. Even she found her own attempt to reassure herself unconvincing. It began to dawn on Alko for too late. That compared to her, this laid-back transfer student might as well have been from another planet.
いいわ。言葉にしないとわからないようだから言うけど、まるでじゃなくて、ズバリそうなの。あなたの気のせいじゃなくて、私は視線で遠回しに感情を表現してたの。
Oh shit! I thought they were done. In response to her words, wait, hold on. Let me go back. Let me.
あなたの気のせいじゃなくて、私は視線で遠回しに感情を表現してたの。いちいち声に出すのも、会話にするのも面倒だから。
Okay. In response to her words, the Martian clapped his hands together.
なるほど。どうしてそうしたいのかはわからないが、確かにそっちの方が手っ取り早い意思表現だ。
She's not getting through to him. Soichiro accepted her reasoning without argument, though he still had no idea what kinds of emotions she was trying to express. It was as if he could hear the words but didn't grasp the meaning. Ideas that should have connected were instead separated into blocks.
確かにずれてるわ、こいつ。
Mr. Yamashiro words made sense to her now. What was odd about this boy went way beyond naivety. A stranger in a strange land he may be, but it was only civilized to forgive him some jet lag-induced confusion.
じゃ、とりあえずあなたの教室に行くから。
She had regained her composure. Soichiro raised hand and stopped in his tracks.
あと一つ。
Raised his hand, my bad. Just one more thing. Alka waited for Soichiro to continue. The boy was patient to a fault. She rubbed her forehead with her hand again, nursing a vague feeling of uneasiness.
これもちょっとした疑問なんだが、なんで君は怒ってるんだ？怒るのが商売とか、そういう家柄の人なのか？
What is he doing? Dad, Soichiro, no! Why the fuck did whenever she gets fucking pissed, they always just use this fucking image for this damn school, man. I just a long silence. Though she knew it wouldn't change the situation, she remembered her regret at answering the phone that morning. He meant no harm. She repeated this through like a mantra in an attempt to keep her impulses in check. She's gonna punch the shit out of him
別に
one
あなた
day.
のせいじゃないから気にする必要はないわ。ただ、この一瞬とお昼まで眠っていた場合を計りにかけたら、あまりに利益の違いがあって頭を抱えただけよ。
With that vague answer, she started to walk again and turned her gaze away from this rude stranger named Soichiro Suzuki. Oh god. While that constitutes normal is certainly up for debate, most would undoubtedly refer to him as so. He was a simple and nice boy. Non-descriptive features. If he were an ice cream flavor, he would be vanilla. Wait, why would he be vanilla? And Soichiro found Aoko to be very businesslike and full of life. There was a certain purpose to her movements, as they began and ended in an orderly fashion. The way her finger raised when she pointed at things. The way she made her way across the hallways and classrooms. The way she would occasionally glance back at him to make sure he was keeping pace. Each and every movement was so impressive that he couldn't take his eyes off of her. Oh, okay, that's cool. Aoko showed him to his homeroom Class C of the 11th grade. The room certainly displayed more of a human touch than the previous meeting room, But Soijiro was none the wiser as to its function. Ako gave a brief explanation before they visited individual subject classrooms, as well as the gym, cafeteria, locker room, and school infirmary. Soijiro asked so many questions that much time passed before they reached that AV room on the second floor.
まずいな。
Soijiro stopped, looking genuinely concerned.
あと20分経つと1時だ。
嘘でしょ。うちの校舎そんな広くないわよ。
Okay, so I'm gonna end things off here. This episode's gone long enough. This is good. I actually do like this. This is really nice. Do you want to perform a quick load? No. Okay, but yeah, I like this. I'm not gonna lie. This is really good. To me, this is good. I like this game. Is like I'm surprised how good this game actually is. But yeah, I like the characters already. I think they're funny. Soijiro, Aoko, and the teacher. You know what I'm saying? Aoki. I think that's her name actually. Aoki. But I love them. I think this is a good game. I think starting this game off like this, I honestly, I had this in my wish list for like a minute, and I was like, should I play this? I couldn't tell you why I didn't play it for a long time, because this did come out at some point, like 3 years ago, or no, it came out a little while ago. I think it just got a remaster 3 years ago. I think that's what ended up happening. But anywho, I'm gonna head out. This is good. What the hell? What the fuck? Sorry, it's like motherfuckers doing these dirt bikes outside. But yeah, man, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna see y'all later. And yeah, man, these two characters, their dynamic was really good. It's definitely not a romance. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I mean, who knows? We don't know, right? We have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe they're not together. Maybe they're not. I don't know. They did say it wasn't going to be like a dating sim game. They said it was going to be like, you know, kind of tragic at the end. So who knows how this is going to go? I have no clue. But I am here for the journey. Deuces.